Hello and welcome to another video from me, Anthony Cooper, and in this video we're going to be talking about landscape photography tips for beginners. So first of all, we'll start off with composition. Now composition is the most important part of a landscape. However, don't be afraid to throw away the rule book here and try something different. So for a composition, use the rule of thirds. So imagine two horizontal lines and two vertical lines. Some images will look best with a focal point in the center, but some images will look better placing the subject off center, and this will create an extra interest within the image to the viewer. Beautiful landscape photos are often defined by the quality of light that is taken in. Because of this, most landscape photographers tend to shoot early in the morning or late in the afternoon, when the sun is lower, creating a wide range of contrasting colours. For this reason, the hours after dawn and before dusk are known as the magic hours. Settings. Learn your f-stops, ISOs, shutter speeds. F-stops, ISOs and shutter speeds are the most important part of photography. Most DSLR cameras will automatically choose the settings for you, but if you decide you want to shoot in manual mode, you'll need to know these settings so you can choose what is best for your image. Locations. Research and find the best photo locations. Get to your location early and look for places to set up so you can get the best view. When you arrive at your location, don't rush your shots. Photography takes time and shouldn't be rushed. You might see a spot that takes a little bit more time and effort to reach to give you the best possible shot. Polarizing filters. Most landscape photographers will have a polarizing filter in their kit bag. There are loads of uses for this, but the two most useful purposes are to cut out nasty glare from reflections and the ability to increase the colour intensity and saturation within a shot, but you will really notice this with clear blue sky. Polarizing filters will darken the sky, therefore bringing out the whiteness in the clouds. So you will really notice this when you're using a polarizing filter on a sunny day. Natural density filters will prevent too much light from entering into the camera. Now this is especially useful on bright days when you don't want to let too much light into the camera sensor, but you still want to be able to use a slow shutter speed to capture the movement in the sky. One of the great problems for landscape photographers is the difference between the sky and the land and the brightness that it produces. The eye is capable of seeing detail across this tonal range. A digital sensor isn't as capable of recording it. GRAD filters were created for landscape photographers and have been used ever since they were created. Their general transition from clear to dark natural density allows photographers to balance exposure between the skies and the land. Capture movement. If you're working with moving water, you can create a stunning white water effect using a long shutter speed. One way you can do this is you can set your camera to shutter priority mode and choose an exposure longer than 2 seconds. Now if you're shooting in daylight, it would be worth using an ND filter to reduce the amount of light that is captured by the camera. If you're using a long shutter speed, a tripod is recommended for this type of photography because your camera can shake if you're holding it by hand, and that will cause your images to become all blurry. Use water as a mirror. Now using water as a mirror can create beautiful effects and reflections. And the best time for this would be during the golden hours, but it doesn't always have to be during those times. As long as you're using a graduated filter or using a polarizing filter along with your camera, then you should be able to create beautiful effects with this using the mirrored effect. And as you can see from this image here, that the settings that have been used for this create an amazing mirror effect with the trees reflecting and the sky. Depth of field. Now, many landscape photographers design an image that appears sharp throughout, so that elements in the foreground of interest, such as rocks in a lake, look just as sharp as the distant horizon. Now, this can be achieved really easy by using the principles of depth of field, where by selecting a smaller aperture such as f22 or f25, the greater the area both beyond and the point of focus also appears to be sharp within the image. So when shooting during the day, use a smaller aperture of f22, f25 or above to create super sharp detail within an image. If you're trying to capture the movement of water or people, using an ND filter will allow you to experiment with different shutter speeds, creating different effects within the image. RAW format. When shooting in a format like JPEG, a lot of the information and detail is lost because the image is compressed. Shooting with RAW, you're able to produce a higher quality of images as well as correct problems with the images that would be unrecoverable when shooting with JPEG. Slow or long exposures. Slow exposures are regularly used by landscape photographers, whether it's to optimize the depth of field with a small aperture setting or to create milky, smooth seascapes. Exposures can be seconds or minutes, so a sturdy tripod is a must. To further minimize the camera movement, consider using a remote shutter release or the camera's self-timer. Wide-angle lenses. Wide-angle lenses are preferred by landscape photographers because they allow you to show more within the shot. Wide-angle lenses tend to give you greater depth of field and allow you to use faster shutter speeds to capture images. Because wide-angle lenses allow more light into the lens, it allows you to take an image at f16, which is a lower aperture setting, and that will allow you to make the background and the foreground sharp. Okay, so that's it for this video on landscape photography. If you liked this video, please hit the like button below, and if you have any comments on this video, please comment in the comments box below the video. Thanks for watching and hope to see you soon in the next video.